Might you at any point like this film? The film starts and we see a general. There, his significant other was in extraordinary difficulty. She was very apprehensive and she was calling the general boisterously. As a matter of fact, a beast was pursuing her and it was a mermaid beast. He held on to the overall significant other and brings her into the water. Subsequent to bringing her into the water, he eats her. Watching this, the general turns out to be very battered. He quickly tosses his Goliath bar at the beast. In the meantime, the general awakens and that's what he discovers, whatever he has seen till presently was his fantasy. In reality, quite some time ago Broad's significant other was killed by the beast. Afterward, the general passes on to track down that mermaid to get payback for his significant other. As a matter of fact, he was tracking down the mermaid while remaining on the boat. In the meantime, he tracks down that mermaid. That is the reason he requests that his friends assault the mermaid. The astounding truth was that nobody could see the mermaid with the exception of the general. In the wake of seeing the mermaid, the general becomes worn out. Consequently, he bounces into the water to get the mermaid. Subsequent to venturing into the water, he ventures into an alternate world. Arriving at there, he requests that the mermaid experience him there. The mermaid moves toward the general and she was very beautiful. In some time, the dress of the mermaid changes. Therefore, she starts to look all the more lovely. As the general goes to go after her with his bar, mermaid in the wake of utilizing a spell sends him back to his reality. On the shore, the general was seen as oblivious. Afterward, when the general re-establishes his cognizance he finds a red shell in his grasp. In the wake of taking that red shell the general comes to his lord. He then shows his lord the red shell. While showing him, the general lets the expert know that, these sorts of shells are just made for beasts. That is the reason I have to take a hard pass, this has come from the ocean. I will let you know confidential, the ocean emergency clinic that is situated close to the ocean. There, a Goliath beast has been seen before numerous years. I think this shell has a place with him in light of the fact that its tone is red, and the shade of the beast's body was likewise red. That is the reason benevolently Ace. Award me the token to actually look at the ocean clinic, and the consent too. However, the beast doesn't give him authorization or token. Since he realized that the gatekeeper of the emergency clinic and the general don't have a decent relationship. That's what the expert knew whether he does with practically no evidence to check. Accordingly, the watchman will turn out to be very battered. In the wake of paying attention to the beast, the general becomes worn out, he compromises the expert that on the off chance that you didn't give me the consent and the token. Then, at that point, I'll go effectively with my companions and sidekicks there. Subsequently, the expert needs to give the token to the general. Afterward, we witness the general riding on a pony, with his sidekick arriving at the Ocean Medical Clinic. In the wake of showing the symbolic they enter in the emergency clinic. Also, in the wake of arriving at inside, the general shows this token to the gatekeeper, and lets him know that I need to really look at this medical clinic. I need to search for it, and subsequent to hearing this, the gatekeeper sends his warriors with the general. To visit the full clinic. Later, the general tells a trooper, to take me to the beast, whose body is red, and that is called Red Beast. The trooper takes him to the Red Beast. Subsequent to arriving at there, that's what the general sees, the beast has been kept oblivious by mysterious spells. Furthermore, the beast has similar red shells. Subsequent to seeing him they all return from that point. Furthermore, the buddy of the general lets him know that following 3 days, there will be a request for your progenitors and family. For this conceivable explanation, the mermaid needs to go amiss your consideration. So you can't get payback for your loved ones. In any case, the general obviously will not acknowledge this. What's more, subsequently, the buddy of the general asks, if it isn't the matter, why didn't you inform us regarding that, the day when the mermaid had met you? The general gets found out in thought subsequent to hearing this. Furthermore, he lets his sidekick know that the day I pursued the mermaid, I came to a different reality where I have found the mermaid. I asked the mermaid, which spot is this? Which spot I've reached? The mermaid answers that you've reached to Mermaid Dream Island. Not just this, the mermaid let me know that I've not killed your relatives. Also, the mermaid showed me that red shell. Before the mermaid could let me know anything more, a male mermaid arrived at there and attempted to go after her. For that mermaid there, I experienced a male mermaid, and I've beaten him a great deal. At the point when she saw that the male mermaid is ruling me, then by an entry, she energized with me. In the wake of knowing this, the friend of the general doesn't put stock in the mermaid's words. That is the reason she lets him know that likely that mermaid needs to control you by her words. Additionally conceivable she'd made that red shell with her enchantment. In the following scene, we see the watchman of that clinic. The male mermaid approaches him and tells him, because of that overall's family, each of my friends passed on. Among them just I'm the survivor. That is the reason sympathetically help me so I can get payback for my colleague's demise from the general. Afterward, the male mermaid tells a story to the gatekeeper. At the point when I was the main survivor and I was meandering alone, while looking for the mermaid I arrived at an island. There I saw that the mermaid was attempting to control the general. Alongside this, the mermaid told the overall that I didn't kill your loved ones. Maybe the red beast of the gatekeeper who lives in his clinic. Then, at that point, the general was rehashing the expressions of the mermaid. Also, the male mermaid has gone after that mermaid. The mermaid then utilized her wizardry to make the whole island evaporate. Afterward, the male mermaid lets the watchman know that the mermaid knows otherworldly words. Yet, the general has hardly any insight into this. Afterward, the general lets his buddy know that, in the request service, a significant number of the visitors will show up. Thus, I'm going to our villa. There, the general goes to see that mermaid. Showing up there, the general tells the mermaid, that your family has killed my family and my ancestors. Regardless of this, you didn't go after me, and you didn't hurt me, and thus, I need further, you to quit harming honest individuals. Subsequent to paying attention to this, the mermaid tells the general, that our families could have done without one another all along. In spite of this, when the general saw the little mermaid, in the adolescence. You didn't tell about me to your loved ones. Since, supposing that you'd informed your family concerning me, they could have killed me. From that point forward, I used to subtly see you. While telling about this, the mermaid says that I know you're a decent individual. What's more, I realize that you were very content with your significant other. What's more, I've seen your great time. Hearing this, the general faults the mermaid, that you're the person who had killed my significant other. In any case, the mermaid plainly dismisses that I haven't killed your better half. In some time, the watchman and the male mermaid show up there. Furthermore, they assault the mermaid, and in the wake of seeing this, the general requests that the mermaid go and he starts to battle with them alone. Afterward, we see that the mermaid hasn't gone from that point. At the point when she planned to go after them, the general stops her and denies her from doing this. Afterward, the gatekeeper and the male mermaid in the wake of beating the general kick him into the water. Afterward, they take the general in charge and straightforwardly take him to the expert. The expert becomes teased general. He ends up being irate with him. He lets him know that your family and progenitors have vowed to help the ruler. In any case, what you're doing a direct result of that mermaid, rehashing the slip-ups. Afterward, the watchman advised the expert regarding his plan to rebuff the general. In the wake of tolerating his thought, the general was restricted on the beach. With the assistance of ropes with weighty strength. There, subsequent to tying him up, they pull the ropes incredibly. They pulled his ropes till the general got blacked out. Afterward, a couple of individuals come to beat the general. At the point when the mermaid comes to be aware of this, she quickly comes there to save the general. Afterward, she takes the general with her, into her reality. There she assimilates every one of his wounds on her body. Subsequently, the general recuperates. In any case, the mermaid supports those wounds on her body. At the point when the general re-establishes his detects, he goes to the mermaid. He sees her body, there were signs of the injury there. Be that as it may, the mermaid tells him not to stress for me, I'm fine. Afterward, the general makes her detainee. In spite of the fact that, he would rather not do this. Be that as it may, he needed to do this on the grounds that the expert has requested him to do. However, he was very crushed inside. In the interim, the watchman and the male mermaid show up there. They start to gravely torment the blameless mermaid. In the following scene, we see the mermaid, the general, the gatekeeper, and the male mermaid, every one of them were going on a coastline. The general tracks down his friend's hand in the dirt there. His hand has a similar red-hued shell. In the wake of watching that, he turns out to be very stunned. He then, at that point, strolls directly to his lord. Furthermore, he lets him know that I have completed your request. I've held on to that mermaid, and presently she is in prison. Be that as it may, the expert disregards him and doesn't pay a lot of regard to him. He then withdraws to say the request for the progenitors. The following day, the expert brings the general into an alone room. After going there, he lets him know that this is the spot, where the graves of your relatives and progenitors are covered. Accordingly, you should say reality before them. He asks the general, do you definitely know the mermaid, from adolescence? There, the general lets him know yes, I've seen that mermaid in adolescence. In any case, I knew nothing about her actual personality. The beast later illuminates him that your relatives could kill the mermaids. Since no other person holds the power that all of you do. That power is situated before your pole, which is blue-hued. The mermaid has a heart security set close to her heart. Just that bar can eliminate that security. At the point when that insurance will break, the mermaid will cry tears from her eyes, and her tears. The mermaid will cry tears from her eyes, and her tears have a capacity, with its power, anybody can become eternal or never-ending. In the meantime, on the opposite side, we see that the male mermaid, he was telling exactly the same thing to the gatekeeper. In the meantime, subsequent to standing by listening to this, the gatekeeper, after blending poison on his feast, kills him. Thus, the male mermaid couldn't tell this anybody. Ace powers the general to kill the mermaid before the requests of the ancestors. Subsequent to doing this, you can take the tears of the mermaid. Afterward, after this, the general comes to the mermaid. In the wake of showing up there, that's what he discovers, that expert was totally correct. That insurance really was set near the mermaid's heart. The mermaid requests that the general kill me right away, don't be postponed. As the general was a decent man, he was unable to kill her. He has sympathy for her, and meanwhile, the gatekeeper shows up. He incites the general and thus, the general clothes. Furthermore, he goes after the gatekeeper. In the following scene, we see the general moving toward the expert. He tells him while showing the red shell, that I've tracked down this red shell from my friend's hand. The fact that mermaids are blameless makes it confirmation. That she has not killed anybody and she is faultless. At the point when the expert hears this, he secures the watchman in the prison. In spite of this, the expert powers the general, whatever it is, you'll go there and accumulate the mermaid's tears and you'll give it to me. Any place the mermaid could possibly be criminal. I just need the tears of the mermaid. As the expert goes from that point, after his takeoff. The general liberates the mermaid, he opens her. Subsequent to doing this, he promptly places her into the water. Subsequent to going into the water, the mermaid re-establishes to typical. Afterward, the general tells her that I didn't have a clue about the reality of tears previously. That is the reason, please assuming I've at any point harmed you. Benevolently excuse me. Here, the mermaid offers the overall something. That you can bring your whole family and dwell on my island. Yet, the general obviously dismisses this and tells her that I know how to help myself, and I'll help myself. Afterward, the two of them enter that corridor where petitioning heaven was being advertised. In the wake of coming there, the general observes that the whole Broad's family has been caught by the watchman. Furthermore, have made them detainees and was killing them individually. Seeing this, the general turns out to be very teased the watchman. As he goes to go after the watchman, an elderly person stops him. According to he, my child. Try not to do this and kill this mermaid. Your relative and your progenitors have been doing this starting from the beginning. Subsequently, satisfy your obligation and kill the mermaid. Alongside this, he tells the overall that, your family and ancestors are watching you from paradise. What's more, they're getting devastated to be aware, that you're going with the mermaid and are not killing her. Subsequent to standing by listening to this, the general tells him, that you and I have been saved in trickery for a long time. Since mermaids aren't our foes. Our ancestors killed the mermaid for their own advantages. So they could get the tears of the mermaids. Afterward, every one individuals who were available there, they assault the mermaid. During this, the gatekeeper assault the general. There, a battle begins between them. Individuals of the overall's family were killing the mermaid.